So for today, I want to review a video that I shot many months back. I think it was probably, yeah, August. It was back in August. And I was basically at the point where I knew that I wanted to leave the United States. I knew that there were things that I had to do. So at that point in time, I was basically, I had resigned from my position with the Attorney General's office. I pretty much started packing, started, yeah, pretty much got the airfare and everything. But this video was titled From Ableism to Resilience. And given that several months have passed, I've definitely traveled quite a bit. I wanted to go ahead and review this just to provide some commentary for the sake of clarity, given the fact that I did put out two videos before. One was titled Why I Left, and the other one was Support Al Ansar Society, which I do believe should be supported because the reverts do need support a lot. But because this is an individual issue, personal thing, uh, just to provide some clarity, because I know there's some reverts that are struggling out there, and this video was originally posted to a former channel that I used to operate. It was called Revert Legacy. I decided to pretty much distance myself from the channel and go a different direction with the Expat Odyssey, just because I'm going to be a revert on my own terms for myself, and I'm definitely happy to support my revert community. But my videos are not going to be solely committed to that. I'm just focusing on traveling and putting content related to traveling out there. So let's go ahead and dive in just to give some proper context.
I'm just taking a moment to actually sit out here at the park. I live over here in Richardson, Texas for the time being. But I just thought I'd go outside and sit. I mean, it's not too hot outside. It feels good. And I just thought I'd do a little bit of reflecting on what I'm about to be embarking on. I moved back to Texas 2021 and had a relatively good life, good career, worked in management, worked at the Attorney General's office, 2 separate jobs. But after a lot of time of thinking and contemplating and trying things out and giving things a chance, I actually came to the conclusion that I really don't want to be here anymore. I really don't. I mean, yeah, I've fortunate enough to have a good career, financially stable, comfortable in life. But the deal is that like a lot of men these days, a lot of guys are really discontent, not just for nothing, but just for the challenges that a lot of men face these days, myself included. Actually, I was recently divorced. I lived alone for many years, a long time. And part of that whole part of my life, living alone and working and supporting someone that didn't even live with me and supporting somebody that I had no life with, it could be very draining. And it was draining. So
It was empty. Truly, it was an empty life where you're just focusing on paying your bills, and it's like Groundhog Day.
basically it came to the point where I've done all this. At the end of the workday, there's not really a whole lot for me to look forward to. I've been going and participating in my community for years now, and I really poured my heart and soul into it. You know, I've been what I've been referred to as just like a life coach, teacher, just somebody as a revert of many years, 2 decades. And whenever I actually put what was perceived as a good reputation to the test, finally decided to see about getting married. It's a very sobering experience. As you may or may not know, I'm legally blind. I'm visually impaired. That doesn't really mean a whole lot because I've lived a very independent life. I've been able to do a lot more than some people. Been able to go through this life and succeeding while there are many people that are not even disabled that are having a harder time than I am. But whenever it finally came time and I wanted to get married, I had somebody offer to have his wife help me get married because, you know, we're Muslim. And in our community, it's very much so a segregated community. So men and women, we don't really mix. We don't really mingle per se. It's very divided. So with that being the case, one of these brothers actually offered to have his wife help me. I didn't ask for help, but he made the offer. And I said, yeah, that'd be great, you know, because, you know, I've worked hard to have something to offer. You know, I have a good home. I have a nice home that I'm proud of, a career that I've been proud of as well. But after all this time of being a so-called life coach, a teacher, somebody in the community that's respected, when it came time for me to actually get married, it was a gut punch. Because what I was told is about a month later that nobody wanted to marry me because I'm visually impaired.
Let me say something about that. I'm actually happy that nothing did work out and that nothing did come from that. Because the fact is that if you're going to be rejected for something so superficial, where it doesn't even reflect on you as an individual, it's just where it's just some physical factor that you have no control over, no control over something that that God willed to happen. That just didn't make any sense. So I'm actually quite happy that that didn't work out over there. I've got a lot more things to look forward over here, if you know what I mean in that regard.
disabled. And that really hurt a lot because as a revert who's been in this for many years, I've struggled with the broader Muslim community in and of itself. It's been
Hmm.
something that over a long time things get compounded, right? And I sometimes tell some people in my circle, yeah, you know, it can be marginalization by 1,000 cuts. Not only because I'm a revert, you know, I'm a white American in the Muslim community, but when you layer on top of that having a disability, like a visual impairment, where it's not my disability that gets in the way of me getting married, it's the stigma of my disability that gets in the way of me getting married. It's the stigma.
In regards to that statement, yeah, marginalization by 1,000 cuts is true. When you're talking about just in terms of what happens in the community with not even being included, I mean, it's just even the way that people deal with you, like it in the slightest manner. You know, a lot of reverts they get the cold shoulder. They don't get treated with respect. And again, if you watch the video, support Al Ansar. That it's basically laid bare, where even the imam who used to teach at one of these big mosques in Texas pretty much talked about it. You pretty much get ignored. And but yeah, marginalization by 1,000 cuts. When in bulk, in full, you're told that you're unacceptable based on a physical aspect that has no bearing on my ability to provide, that has no bearing, that has no nothing in the way of me being a good husband. That's just total BS. And like I said, I am very happy that it didn't work out. I'm a lot happier abroad. My cost of living is a lot better. My quality of life is a lot better. I have things to live for. So it actually worked out in my favor. I can't complain. I truly cannot complain. I have a phenomenal life. I love it here. I just being able to do this. Uh, there's nothing a lot for me to complain about, but I'm sharing this with you to give you an idea as to what people that are of my background tend to contend with. The visual impairment's one thing, but being a revert is the bulk of the matter. And that's why I'm sharing this with you for awareness.
It really is the stigma. And I felt betrayed. It was a very difficult experience of betrayal because I've dealt with isolation, loneliness for a long time. But with the added exclusion of being a disabled person and being a revert where it's already a challenging environment to navigate, not because I am lacking in adaptability. It's not the case. I'm very adaptive. I'm able to work my way around peoples and cultures that are different from mine, but I'm respectful. I adapt, I learn, and I do what I can to do whichever practices are typically normal.
That's not enough because in the community over there, you contend with nonstop, relentless gatekeeping. It's gatekeeping.
In those cultures. But the reason I'm making this video is because I'm about to really embark on the journey of a lifetime. Not only leaving my community, where I feel like there's nothing there, there's no point to it anymore, but I'm also leaving the country. I'm leaving the country and I'm going to the Philippines. Why, Shane, why are you going to the Philippines? Because it's one thing to work a job and to punch in and punch out, and do all these things. But at the end of the day, when you go home alone, your weekends are alone and you are alone, it's too much to deal with. It's not something that you can keep doing for an indefinite amount of time. And then
Whenever I was in the Philippines, and I will go back to the Philippines, what I did is that I had to relearn to enjoy life again. I had to relearn how to enjoy life again. I mean, there's a saying that it's funner in the Philippines. That's true. That is so true. And my time in the Philippines for me was a kind of rehabilitation, something to help me recover from this blow. But it was a blow at the time, but in hindsight, you should always say alhamdulillah, just thank God for the way things that happen because it is what's going to happen to you, what's written for you. qadar Allah. It's just divine decree. It's going to be better for you. It is. It's just sometimes it's a bitter pill, but it's good for you.
When you go back and you look at why a lot of the reasons for American men, not just American men, but men from the West, why they're leaving, a lot of times they're leaving for financial motivations, cost of living. You know, a lot of people have a remote job that they can work abroad. The other aspect to it is that it's been reported by many men in this movement called the Passport Bros, where the women themselves have these unrealistic expectations for someone who can actually be a good provider, be a good husband, be somebody there that could actually support the family, where the unrealistic expectations of a lot of these women have pretty much made men alone to the point where they just have to go their own way. So that's pretty much what this is. I'm going my own way.
And what I would say about that, number one, I don't believe in the whole red pill ideology. I don't associate myself with that. I just consider myself an expat. I don't call myself necessarily a passport bro. Uh, but in terms of what I said previously about what the big reason why the passport bros decide to leave, a lot of men decide to leave, is unreasonable expectations. And what a beautiful thing that I see here in Southeast Asia is that the women are traditional to a great extent. In the Philippines and in Malaysia, these two countries that I have been to here in Southeast Asia, the average woman does want to take care of their man. They want to love their man. They want to do what they can. You know, very supportive and whatnot. And it's uh, it's just it contrasts heavily with what we have in the West, which in many cases, even when somebody becomes Muslim, they still hold on to the baggage of some of the things that came before Islam, and sometimes a lot of the uh, the problems with some Muslim women, and of course Muslim men have their own problems too. I'm not denying that. This isn't a back and forth type. We're not duking it out, but a lot of women hold on to these feminist ideas, and feminism in the West is it's not helping matters. It's not. So to be in this part of the world, to be in Southeast Asia, it's a breath of fresh air. The food is good, the environment is nice. It's uh it's the kind of thing where you really have to take an opportunity to get out of the West and see the world for what it is, because it can be a nice place. And you don't have to be in a rut like I was. You just have to take the initiative to say, screw it, I'm done. I've been this community member that's contributing left, right, center, whichever way you want to do it. But again, a reason I closed and shut down Revert Legacy is because I was all about filling up the cup of other people, but nobody was filling my cup. That can go for brothers too. But that's not to say that all reverts are bad. That's not to say all Muslims are bad. That's just to say my own personal experience led me to the realization that I need to stop pouring.
It's really a challenge. It's not easy, but this is what I have to do. So what are the steps moving forward? Moving forward, I have 6 weeks until I'm supposed to fly to the Philippines. So in that time, I have to basically pack up my apartment, get everything put in storage, and be ready to go. But before I actually go, my mother actually wants to go on a road trip with me, and so we're going to go on a road trip. She has a really nice Corvette.
Yeah, I have a good relationship with my mother. It's that's a blessing. It's not related to this, but it's part of the video. So yes, thank God I have a good mother. She's loving. She knows I'm out here. She misses me, of course, and I miss my family as well. But I'm happy out here. I'm truly happy out here.
It's very nice. Being visually impaired, I can't drive it, but I can ride. So that is what we will be doing, is just going and doing a road trip, and I'm flying to the Philippines. But that's pretty much it. Stay tuned, because I think I'm going to turn this into a documentary. I'll show you how it goes. Thank you.
Well, it's not a documentary. It's a change in direction towards the expat odyssey. So that's how we are here now. This is now the Expat Odyssey. So we're going to be covering all sorts of things here. Of course, partially it's going to be related to being Muslim because that is a part of my identity. But I'm going to be covering what it's like to be an American, what it's like to be a Westerner that's out here and living abroad, providing advice, tips, insights, news. This is a multifaceted channel. It's not just for one specific niche per se. So thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share if you would please. And a big thank you to my new subscribers. I see you. I see that so many of you have been subscribing to my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much. If there's anything that you want to see on this channel, just let me know. Leave a comment, and I will do what I can to get on it. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.